Hey, folks, welcome to Shooting Up North. I'm your host, Louis Carlin. We're right here on the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're watching for the first time, please consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you want to follow me on social media, I'm on Twitter at Shooting Up North, Instagram at Alliance PW Network. And feel free to join our Facebook group, the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network. And feel free to check out my articles on PW Mania. I got a number of articles up there, news articles, some columns, new columns coming out this weekend. Check it out, PW Mania. Okay, so Scott Demore. Scott Demore was interviewed, PW Insider, by Mike Johnson, and he spoke about holding on to talents that Impact Wrestling cultivates when there is an arms race for talent among WWE and AEW. So he's talking about holding on to talent when you know there's WWE and AEW. So here's what Scott Demore had to say, and this is fine print. I'm going to read this as best as I can. I expanded it as best I can so it's not off the screen. So Scott Demore said, to answer that question, he said, "Yeah, Mike," talking to Mike Johnson, the PW Insider. "That's a good and valid point. When you look at things like certainly there's more downside. Let's kind of call it how it is. I mean, the analogy that I'll use here is I'm a sports guy, Mike. We're the Minnesota Twins. We can't go out and compete for talent with the Yankees and the Red Sox. It's a good comparison there, actually. It's not, and it can't compete with these guys either. Okay, I know they're in second place, I believe, but it's okay. Um, uh, Nick. Anyway, so Nick McDaniel tapped out the wrestling podcast. He's a Braves fan, but anyway, so back to this. We can't compete with the Yankees and the Red Sox. It's not how we're going to do business. We're going to be strategic. We're going to scout well, and we're going to develop talents. And that's one of the things that I'm most proud of under Anthem's regime that we've been really good at. We've been good at using talent that has a skill set and the potential, but that needs to be fostered. I'm losing the print here, so I'm going to try to read this as best I can. It's being cut off a bit, and I can't seem to get it back. And let's get back. Shut up, Lewis. Just get back to the quote from Scott Demore. Said, "We've been good at using the talent that has a skill set and potential that needs to be fostered, and I think we've been very good at fostering that potential. And part of that is yes, there's going to be a turnover because that's going to be talent that moves on and goes to other places, and that's okay because talent needs to rotate. Um, talent needs to, and I lost my spot here. Oh, here we go. And talent needs to rotate. Talent needs to move on and go to other places. I think one of the things in the last many years of wrestling that has helped stagnate it, led to stagnation can be a lot of talent movement. If you look at the territory days, talent used to move around a lot, and it doesn't move around as much anymore. I mean, I would certainly be lying, Mike, if I sat here and said, "Hey, I wish I didn't have a checkbook I wish I didn't have a checkbook that we could open up and we could just do everything we wanted with every day." But that's not our model. That's not where we are, and that's fine because the fact is, Mike, and again, Mike Johnson, PW Insider, who he's talking about, talent out there knows if they come to Impact Wrestling, they're going to be given an opportunity and to develop a skill set. They know they're going to be supported, developed, and nurtured, and that's a good reason why a lot of talent will give us multiple years of their career and come and work for us. Because if you look at our track record, since we took over and you start looking at those other rosters that you mentioned, how many people on that roster, developed here and don't want to sit there and say, "Hey, that's our main purpose." But the fact is, we get the best talent in a lot of situations, and I think we do a good job working with talent. developing the talent, fostering a positive atmosphere that gets the most out of them. And some of them will stay here and continue to succeed. Some of them will move on. What does it lead? What it does lead to on the positive side of things. What it does lead to on the positive side of things, Mike, there's a lot of really talented people who want to become part of Impact Wrestling. So that's Scott Demore talking about competing basically with WWE and AEW. For talent, like I said, man, I've said many times they should have a dedicated developmental program and just I wrote an article about it on PW Mania. Dedicated, not everybody liked the article, but that's okay. But I feel they should have a dedicated developmental territory or a promotion such as Border City Wrestling, where they sign young, fresh talent and develop and foster and nurture them, as he's saying, into the next stars of Impact Wrestling. I think that's what they should do. But Scott Moore makes a lot of sense here. I like how he says they're the Minnesota Twins and they can't compete with the Red Sox or the Yankees or the Mets. He didn't say Mets. I added Mets in. But anyway, and I'm sorry about that. It was a little difficult to read because the words are getting cut off, and there's very fine print here on PW Insider. But that's Scott Demore. So I see what he's saying, and he makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of wrestlers right now in Impact Wrestling that enjoy this by like Eddie Edwards, Trey Miguel, Rich Swann, Josh Alexander, Moose. Sammy Callahan. They all signed long-term deals. Jordan Grace. They're enjoying Impact Wrestling. Impact Wrestling gives them the freedom, as Scott Demore said, to nurture that, they foster them. They could reach the full potential in Impact Wrestling. Impact Wrestling very supportive of the talent. So there's a lot of talent, a lot of really good talent. Well, I don't need to tell you that, but there's a lot of tremendous talent that enjoy their time in Impact Wrestling. And I know there's a lot of AEW fanboys and a lot of WWE fanboys out there. So, oh, Impact will never sign anybody. They're one more nail in the coffin. Well, that's bull. I'm not gonna curse, but that's bull crap. That's bull crap. We all know it. That's Scott Demore saying that in response to that question from Mike Johnson. And Mike Bennett. Mike Bennett says he and Matt Taven have a chip on their shoulder as a tag team. They spoke recently. Actually, Mike Bennett spoke with Sportskeeda recently to hype up the upcoming Bound for Glory pay per view, where he and Matt Taven defend the Impact Wrestling World Tag Team titles against the Motor City Machine Guns. And so he says that they have a chip on their shoulder. He goes, "We got an effing chip on our shoulder. Let's remind everyone who we effing are." And I have a feeling like the Motor City Machine Guns are going in there too, thinking that way. They've been having some killer matches the last year or so, and I feel like they're another team that doesn't get talked about. When you look at the top tag teams, you always hear FTR, you always hear Young Bucks, you always hear Usos, and here's Motor City Machine Guns, here's the OGK. We're like, wait a minute, we're doing just as well, we're killing it just as well. So let's remind everyone who the F we are. That's our mindset going into Bound for Glory. I love that. I love to hear that. Matt Taven, Mike Bennett are going to have an absolutely hell of a match against Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley. That's going to tomorrow night. That's going to be absolutely fantastic. I love hearing this from Mike Bennett. But one thing I would like to hear, one thing I would love hearing more from Mike Bennett is me and Matt Taven have signed a 3-year deal with Impact Wrestling. That's what I would love to hear more from Mike Bennett or Matt Taven, either one of them, or even if Maria Kanellis wants to break the news, that's fine by me too. But I hope they stay on with Impact Wrestling. I hope they sign a 2 or 3 year deal. I don't see them losing to the Motor City Machine Guns. My preview and prediction show has been up for a few days. You can check it out. But I love to hear that from Mike Bennett. They're going into this match at Bound for Glory with the Motor City Machine Guns to blow the roof off the building, and the roof's going to get blown off the building quite a bit during this show. This is going to be a terrific show. I can't wait for tomorrow. I cannot wait for tomorrow, guys. Bound for Glory, don't miss it. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. So many great matches on there. You don't know what it is, but listen to the preview and prediction show, and check out my articles on PW Mania as well. But that's it for me. I just wanted to jump on and talk a little bit with you guys. Another live stream here, so I'll be back tomorrow. I might be doing a pre-show discussion, but I'll be definitely doing a post-show discussion for Bound for Glory. So make sure you check that out. So after Bound for Glory is over, head on over to this channel here, the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network YouTube channel. I'll be talking about Bound for Glory on the Shooting Up North Bound for Glory post show. So make sure you tune in and let's talk tomorrow. Okay, until then, thank you very much. Take care. Bye bye. Stay safe, everyone. Don't miss Bound for Glory.